Hello everybody, this is how I do a full service on any push mower between 19 and 22 inches. So first I spray the whole machine down in degreaser and I wash the entire unit. Get it all nice and clean, spray it down, all the nooks and crannies, wheels, valve cover, behind the carb, inside the wheels, in here, all that dirt gets caught up in side of the deck. And then what I like to do is I like to get a stick and put it across here and also clean underneath the mulch flap where the bag goes, because a lot of crud gets stuck in there. I'll clean it all up, the cables, the handles, essentially the whole mower really. And then I let that sit for a couple minutes, let it start really eating away at that dirt and grime. And then I get the pressure washer. And I just go over top of the whole machine until everything's clean. Is I flip it on its side, make sure the carburetor side is facing up. I spray the wheels again, the inside of the wheels, the deck where all the grass is stuck to, the blade, transmission, everything that you really don't see on a mower, because you want to clean it from the inside out, because that's where it starts to rust. I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit. Alright, everything's nice and clean, so we'll flip it back over, and a little bit of the dirt got on the top of the deck, so I'll completely just spray that off again, and then I'll put it off to dry, and then we'll go off to the next step. Drain pan of your choice. I always tip the mower on its side first, like this. And then grab the pan, put it underneath where the oil drain is. I always tip it over first, then grab my oil pan, and then always take this off first, or after I mean. Drain it out. Now that's a good consistency. This one didn't really need to be changed, but this is my personal mower, so I always keep up on maintenance on it. I've had it for almost 10 years. Still starts first pull, always use premium fuel, service 3 times a year. And while that's draining, I like to come over here where the air filter is, take off these 2 tabs, pull it off, and I see that there's a little bit of grass in there. I always clean that out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and actually replace this. Clean out the debris in the air filter and the housing with a rag. So I actually get a rag here, and I always clean as best as I can the debris inside the covers. Just like that. Okay, and I always get a little bit, I always clean a little bit in here. Make sure there's no water in there, no dust. And now, I'll be back with the OEM air filter for this. Alright, so the OEM air filter here, compared to the used one. This one it would be okay to reuse, but like I said, I like to keep up on maintenance to a T with this because I use it pretty hard. So, the part number for this is 399959. So we're going to put that in a spot here. Make sure everything's seated around. And grab your air filter cover. Make sure the hook is facing down. You hook it into the slot there. Make sure it clips into place. Now, we'll move on to the spark plug down here. So, remove the boot. Careful because it might be hot. Put it off to the side. Now grab a 13/16 socket and a 3/8 wrench or ratchet wrench to remove the existing plug. So in my case, here, and then once you crack it loose, you can take your ratchet off and just twist it off by hand. Note not to touch the spark plug after running it because it will be extremely hot. Take it off and then inspect the color. So in my case, it's been running super lean for some reason. You see the top there, it's really white, but the rest of it's like a golden brown, so it's not too bad. But if I wipe it, yeah, it's running a little lean at the top there, but that could be due from a clogged air filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in a new spark plug. In this case, it's a BPR 6ES. So always start it by hand, thread it in by hand first. A couple threads. You can grab your ratchet, your socket, and then turn it in by hand all the way. You don't want any resistance, you want it loose as can be. And then once you can't turn it by hand anymore, grab your ratchet, put it in the tightening mode, and then I always give it a few cranks until I can't turn it anymore, and then I give it a little, just like that. You don't want to over tighten it. And you put your boot back on and you listen for that click. Put it on the spark plug and you listen for that click. Sometimes it's tricky to get to without burning your fingers. In this case, it's probably already on. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to flip it back over on its regular position. And in my case, I like to use Kawasaki's 10W40 synthetic and contains zinc. It's a good oil. It's a very good oil that I use in all my small engines. Hondas like to run high tolerances, so they like to use zinc in their oil. So that's what I'm using. And you're going to need a measuring cup. It takes about just under 500 mils. Usually any lawnmower takes under 500 mils of oil. I'm going to need 2 hands to open that up. So under 500 mils, just under 500, so that's 2 cups. Your funnel, make sure your funnel's clean. You don't want any debris getting in your engine. The inside, the outside of the funnel, and then place it on the filler neck on the filler, and then slowly pour it in. You don't want to go too fast because you might overfill it and it pour all over your deck, and then you got to do more cleaning and you don't know how much oil gets in when you spill it. So just go nice and easy. And then I just give a little bit of a shake on the funnel here. And you get your dipstick, clean it off. I always clean the threads, make sure there's no debris in the threads because that you could cross-thread it because this is plastic, right? So it gets cross-threaded pretty easily. Make sure it's nice and clean. And then hand twist it. And then what Hondas do is they actually don't twist it in to check the oil. They just dunk it in like that, pull it out, and it's right to the full mark right there. Perfect. Go back in, tighten it up, make sure it's nice and snug, that when you start it, it's not going to start leaking, and then wipe off the excess oil that dripped on the deck. Next up is sharpening the blade. So you're going to tip it back over on its side. Make sure that you always have the air filter facing up. If you face it the other way, all the oil and the gas will leak into your airbox, and that's a big mess. All right, it's over on its side. You're going to want to get the correct socket and impact to take this off. In my case, it's a 9/16. This blade is pretty dull, in my opinion. I cut about 6 lawns a day, so it does get quite used. This one has a slight bend in it, but I'm going to be using it for the rest of the season or until it gets too dull and I can't use it anymore. So let's take off this blade bolt, and then I'll sharpen the blade and put it back on. Alrighty, blade is nice and sharp. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on the mower here. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but it goes blade, then blade adapter, then the bolt. Alright, so we flip it back over. And what I like to do it to all my mowers and every mower that I work on, is get a rag with a little bit of oil on it, WD-40, anything that's oil based, and just wipe it on the deck. What this does is, obviously, other than make it look super new, is I like it because it protects my paint. It protects it from scratches and the sun, because if you leave your mower out in the sun too long, it starts to get faded like that. So I don't want it to look like that, and I want to keep it this mower as long as I can. So I'll just wipe it down in some oil. It's almost like a little ceramic coating for your mower. And I think it works great, because I've had mowers in the past where I wouldn't do this, and after a couple years of use, it would look all faded. Like I said before, this mower is almost 10 years old. I've used it every single day for 5 to 10 hours a day. It's not a commercial unit, but if you take care of your machines, they will last. And that is how you do a full service on any push mower.